everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the CraftyTuts podcast. I talk a little bit about knitting, about crochet, and behind the scenes that's going on with the CraftyTuts blog. The first thing that I wanted to show you in this episode is a finished object, and I mentioned it in the first episode that I was going to make a shawl using the Knit Picks and Chroma Twist yarn, and it is finally done. And here it is. It's an asymmetrical shawl and it's worked sideways, and as I mentioned it, I was going to be creating stripes, alternating the colored one that is called Get Your Yin and the bare one or natural. As you can see, the stripes grow, not only like the shape of the shawl getting wider as is usual for creating shawls, but they also become longer. I wanted to create something that was playing with the stripes, but it was that in a way it was consistent, like since the shawl is growing and is getting wider and wider, I also wanted the stripes to get taller and taller, and that way create a visual effect that when you just see it is kind of noticeable but not too much, but then you can compare like this little stripes with this huge stripes and then you can actually see it. But because of the effect that this is not only smaller and not so wide, it creates a gradient of all the elements that it grows in proportion. I also like that the yarn creates a gradient by itself. You don't need to do anything, so it looks like you play with more yarn, with more elements that you actually did. And anytime I can get something easier but have a complicated look, something to look more complex and more robust, I will take it. And I think it's different between each yarn where they will start, but here you can see it starts with a combination of colors with a mostly pinkish tone that is predominant, and it starts changing to a more with more tones of yellow. Even though here it includes the yellow, it gets more warmer, more yellow and orangey. Here the pink is almost gone, and here the pink is completely gone. And so you can see by the stripes created, it looks like you're using two different yarns, but actually you're not. The yarn itself, that's all the gradient by yourself. So you have the gradient of the stripes growing, you have the gradient of the shawl growing in width, and you have the gradient of the yarn changing in colors by itself as well. And then it starts getting again to that same color that you started with, kind of like closing, starts and finish with almost the same tones. If I were to define this shawl in like musical terms, it will be almost like a crescendo, how it starts slow and little and then it grows or it gets louder. And also in term, if I were continue to use musical terms, a subito fortissimo, because its stop is an abrupt stop, and that not only creates the stop for the shawl, but also you're expecting to have like, you can see it grow and you're expecting it, but then it stops right there. It's smaller, and not only that, it changes in shapes and it changes a little bit in texture, because you have a predominant of lines, stripes element, and mostly plain, and then you create a wave as a mean to stop and create an edge with a little bit of an ornament that is not too much to get it distracted, but to add to the composition of the shawl. It's not extremely big, but you can wear it as a handkerchief, or you can wear it as a shawl, and you can accommodate it with maybe just one, maybe two, and so on. And you know, like show your stripes. Another way I like to wear shawls is with pins, and it will help keep it in place and so on. You can also wear it as a regular shawl, although one space is going to have more coverage than the other, but it's up to you. It's whatever you want to do best, whatever you like better. And so, enough of me geeking about my designs. Let me just show you another finished object. In the previous episode, I also showed you a hat that was halfway because I ran out of yarn, and I decided to just turn it into a headband instead of having to finish it. And so here it is. It's a very simple design. I just wanted to use up all the yarn that I had left, because as you can see, it's enough to create a lovely design. And because I live in Alaska, this is gonna come really handy as an ear warmer. When it starts getting really windy, we have to protect our ears. So this fits my daughter, and she can really wear this. For her to start wearing it during the first day of fall, because it starts getting colder and very windy, and so you have to protect your ears or they start hurting. Another finished object I have is a little basket that I crochet. It's not something I'm gonna make the pattern because there are so many patterns around for baskets. I just had a couple of old t-shirts that they were too old to be worn, but I wanted to do something with them, so I decided to turn the fabric into yarn by cutting it into strips, and that's it. And here is my little basket. As you can see, it's not perfect, it's not the fanciest, but for now I'm using it to keep all my little they're not really skeins, as you can see, are all the leftovers that I have from yarn that I keep because I can use it for small elements, appliques and stuff like that. So I'm using it for that. I'm keeping it all together, and that way when I'm doing something and maybe I need a little flower or something small, I have it right here. And if not, maybe I can, when I don't have something to do and I don't have anything planned, I can go through my yarn and see, well, what can I still make with this? What can I work? As you can see, I hold on to the smallest piece of yarn. If this doesn't make a flower, I can make a button, or I can even use it as a prop for my photographs and stuff like that. So I keep almost everything. It has to be really small for me to throw it away. So that's another finished object I got. I decided to do it because I just finished the shawl, I finished the headband, and I don't have anything planned. But I need to move my hands. I need to do something. I can't stay still. I get anxious when I'm not doing so. I decided to do it, and it wasn't much of an entertainment. I finished it in one day. On a few purchases I made, I decided to subscribe to Vogue Knitting. I think they have really nice patterns, and of course I design, but sometimes I like to knit something that I don't have to take notes, especially when I go somewhere else, like in the doctor, when I have a doctor's appointment, I have to take the kids. I don't always want to be knitting something that I need to have to keep exact track so I can make a pattern out of it. That is my work. That is something that I prefer to do here in the office when I have all my tools, where I have my computer, I have everything that I need to take notes and so on. So for more relaxed knitings, I decided to get more patterns that I can do, because there's a difference between the knitting that I do for the blog and that I design, and it's much different to just follow a pattern and not having to worry about anything, about getting notes of every single stitch that you make that you didn't if you decided to change it up, and so on. Because just think about it, going to the doctor's office and trying to keep the kids sitting down, do your knitting, and also keep track of how many rows you already work, or if you had to change a couple of stitches to make it work in the pattern or get a certain shape, is just going to be really, really hard. And that's why I want to grow my collections of patterns made by other designers that I can follow, and I don't have to take notes of them. I also made a Craftsy, I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right, purchase, and I got a few tools that is gonna make my life easier. One of them is a ball winder. I didn't have one before. I thought I was not going to need it, that I was okay with it, so I finally got one. The reason I got one is because when I was winding the yarn for this one, it comes in a skein, in a hank, as most yarns do. Not all of them, but you know that many yarns come in hanks. And I was winding it by hand, creating my ball, but it got tangled and it took forever to untangle it. And not only that, the kids wanted to play with it, so it got tangled a little more. And finally I got tired, so I left it and decided to cool off and come back to it to the next day. So pretty much it took me more than one day just to create the balls of the yarn, and that is time that I can use doing something else. So I think this was worth it just to have it. And not only that, I also got my umbrella swift, so that way the yarn doesn't get tangled. Here it is. I haven't even opened it yet because I don't have any yarn to work with just far. I just got the metal one. I really wanted to get the wood, but it's a little more expensive, and I need to keep costs down so I can continue to buy yarn. And I like to offer some of my patterns for free, and the only way I can do it is if I don't spend too much, or it will be. So here it is. Supposed to open it. Let me see. Never even used one before. Can you see? Can you realize that I never did? Oh goodness. Anyway, I'll figure out how to work this. Let me just put it back. I'm sure I'll be able to. But I'm really happy that I can really get it, and I'm sure now once I finally can figure this thing out and how to open it, then I won't have any more tangles and I will be able to start working right away. I'll take care of it later. So you can't buy anything from Craftsy if you're not gonna buy yarn. And so I have this Lovely's yarn. I got 3 of them. And this is the Heritage Cascade Yarn Soft Yarn, 75% merino superwash and 25% nylon. I haven't decided yet, but I am thinking of creating a shawl, and I bought a pattern that is a mystery knit along that uses a similar yarn. It is the one for the pattern called for is variegated, but it is extremely expensive. And right now, as I mentioned, I'm trying to put money into CraftyTuts to create my patterns, and both free and paid. So expending too much on something that is going to be just for me, it wasn't an option for at this for now. So I might be using this instead of the really expensive one, because this one is really affordable and still looks really nice. So let's see when the first clue comes out what I'll be doing, if I will end up buying the yarn that the pattern calls for, or if I will be using this one. Another purchase I made also from Crafty is 2 of this black and 1 natural of the cloud-born fibers, and it is wool fingering twist. This color is natural, and this is in colorway slate heather. You can see that it has a slight tone of gray, almost white, but you can barely see it. You have to come really close to be able to see it. From far away it looks just really black. And this is not really white. It might look white on camera because of the lighting, but is more of a natural tone, not quite beige but not white either, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. It is wool, so a shawl. I don't think it's going to be enough for a sweater, although I only have to try. If you would, I thought the safest was to get a black and a natural, because they go together in almost any pattern. Anything you create with it is a very, very, very safe color. So that's why I decided to get it in this colorways. And I'll be maybe swatching them and see what kind of fabric they create, so I can decide what I'm going to be designing with them. This, I know they're going to be designing yarn. This one, let's see if I will use it for my mystery knit along, or if they're going to become another design. On the personal behind the scenes, I will have to slow down a bit of content, both in video and patterns and so on, because my husband is deployed. He actually left today, so that won't give me much time because he helped with the kids. But on the other hand, I also will have less responsibilities, so I might have more time. If the kids decide to behave, I might be able to stay consistent with putting up content. So it is what it is. I have to do the best out of it, and it's not easy to be alone with 3 kids and a dog that needs to be walked 2 to 3 times a day, maybe more. So I'm sorry about that. I will do my best, because I love you guys. I love putting out new patterns. I love blogging. I love the designing process, so I'll try to keep up with this. But if I slow down, that's the reason. I will be all by myself for many months, quite a few months. That's it for today's episode. As I mentioned on the first one, they're gonna be rather quick and short because I need to get back to kids. But I really hope you enjoy them, and if you can give me an idea, a suggestion of what can this lovely skeins become, just let me know. Would you like to see a shawl? Would you like to see knitting patterns? Would you like to see crochet patterns? What would you like to see with this? I would really like to know. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.